Okay, we in the place to be. Got Notta B. How you feeling? How you doing?
I am well. It's a new day, on to new things. I came with a willing attitude to grow.
A willing attitude to do anything progressive these days is a rarity. You know. So
That's the truth.
what you got on your mind today?
Man, so we were talking yesterday and I was telling you I buried my aunt. So I wanted to really just talk about family again and talk more about tradition and legacy.
Hmm.
I laid a beautiful woman to rest yesterday. And although I know that her spirit was not in that vessel and that the homegoings are more so for those of us who are left behind, I felt honored to be a part of the process that made that moment magical. My auntie was honored. And while I was preparing to go to the funeral, what made me late was I caught, like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like a flash. And I saw a celebration going on. I saw my aunt in the red suit that we had picked out for her and the wig, but she had like this sparkly tiara on her head. And she loved to sing and dance. And I saw her dancing. I saw her with my uncle, her husband, who passed dancing. I saw my granddaddy. I looked around, saw all my elders that had went, all the people that I love, both on my side and my husband's side, in a room. The vision was plain as day. And she was well. And it reminded me that she wasn't in
Right.
this where I was going. And at that point, you know what I did? I took my time to dress.
Condolences to you and your family and your losses.
And I appreciate that. You were saying something earlier about how doing good or doing the right thing or being good
Mm.
is a lifestyle and not something that you just pick up as a brooch or a hat that you put
Exactly.
on when it's convenient for you. Because most would say that because I too am an empath, so I
Hmm.
always address the need of the people that I love. And
Hmm.
now I may not be the one that shows up at your parties all the time, but when you are in need, and I know that there's a need, if I can meet the need or if I can assist, I always assist. Your comment today made me realize what it was that I should have been expressing. That's what it is. It's a lifestyle. It's
Hmm.
not something I pick up and I put on. I do good because good is in me. You know what? What I do appreciate about my husband, even with the rigidness, the divine masculine man knows how to turn that left side of the brain on, that balances the right side so beautifully. It's like playing chords on an instrument when you find the rhythm. So the word says in the beginning was the word and the word was God. And we have to understand the power of the word. That has been my struggle, making sure that I break traditionally the verbiage, the upbringing that caused me to speak about myself a certain way or to use certain words when it comes to describing myself or those around me.
I keep the term black personally, and then I know it doesn't have a nationalistic term to it, but the reason why I do it is because black is the absorber of all the colors within the light spectrum and the
Yep,
reflection of none. It
yep,
takes all the light and pulls it in and puts out black, its own entity. I take
yep,
the Buddhist information, I take the Christian information, I take the
yep,
Moorish doctrine, I take the 5%, I suck all that in
yep, yep, yep,
and
yep,
I
yep,
push out black. That's what I
yep,
do. So I'm black. So saying that all to say, in the black people in this nation, we don't love this place. We throw trash on the ground. We tear up our own community. It's a rage within us because we don't love it here. I tell everybody what we should have did is what China did. Took ourselves to our own place, closed down the border, don't trade with
yep,
nobody. Get
yep.
yourself to a place where you can sustain yourself.
And
Then
then
once you have a surplus and can build up enough that you can begin to trade with nations upon the nations like a sovereign nation, then you
yep,
could build with these people. As long as you just a loose individual buying and selling within a market, man, you can forget it.
you're just a consumer.
Just a consumer, you know. That's why they
Now,
try to put brands in you and put all kind of
yeah,
markers in you because you don't have the ability to say, "Hold up, our people over here don't take markers."
yeah.
All of us, none of us take markers.
All of that is true, and all of that speaks to our legacy or the lack thereof. Like,
Exactly.
or at this point, what I want to know. what's truly our legacy. I
Hmm.
feel like we don't have nothing but a legacy of trauma.
Hmm.
It's all about energy,
Right.
and the more you understand how to control your energy and how to discern the energy around you, it makes it easy to connect with people. I really think that in terms of you um, understand, you were talking about how you and correct me if I'm wrong, that you struggle with how not to absorb the energy that you don't want to uh,
Deal with it. Right.
that you don't want to deal with.
Hmm.
And it made me think about um, Sister Shaman and how she stated that you are to be connected but not attached. And then that took me to, whereas we are responsible for the energy we bring and the energy you allow around you, but it also lets me know, and then because I've been reflecting on like all of these things, and so dots are being connected in my mind. So like with yesterday, it let me know that even though I didn't want to take the responsibility that I did, being in light energy required me to give my energy for the good of the whole to the light. And when it was required for me to shore my energy up so that I was prepared for what will happen yesterday at the aftermath, I knew without knowing to shore myself up. And
Right.
then spirit gives you wisdom, because I got the flash of the party, the heavenly gathering that slowed me down.
Hmm.
And so by the time I got there, I was well within my spirit. I wasn't anxious. So I don't even know if any of that made sense. That's just how it kind
Nah.
of processed in my mind.
Nah, it makes a lot of sense. Don't ever lose confidence. Confidence is a very strong tool. I
Okay.
we talking about legacy and tradition, and to a degree, I've been thinking that we are almost in a time of renaming. I would love to meet a mate that we could study a name. We just take a new name together, like all this. Woman take a man take a woman name. Let's have a hyphenated name. Let's start a new name. You know,
I really like the idea of that.
you know. Let us begin
Hey.
the new set of principles to govern our family.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what time we in. To me, I think we gotta our history has been destroyed. You know,
Our history is one of trauma. Like even speaking about the book we were talking about that we're going to be speaking on closer toward Juneteenth. When we look at the history of the Black community, it is one of trauma.
right,
Our legacy, our traditions were formed out of a need to survive.
right.
The braiding of the hair, the old Negro spirituals, how the cooking,
Mm-hmm.
the habits. Most of our people are down. My auntie still cook pig feet
Hmm.
and chitlins,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying. And I ain't never tasted chitlins. Now I heard I can make a mean chitlin, because you can't be a woman in a Black family and not end up in the kitchen at some point. And in my household, you was always in the kitchen. So by me being one of the older grandchildren and the one that was always closest to my elders, I was in the kitchen. So I had to learn. That's why I never ate chitlins, because I learned how to clean them first.
Hmm.
By the
So to
time I was
speak,
done
though.
cleaning them, I never had no desire to eat that.
Real quick, funny story. They used to always tell people, you can't eat everybody's chitlins. You know what I'm saying? So everybody don't know how to clean their chitlins. So I
Mm-hmm.
always heard a story about my grandfather. My grandfather wasn't always the deacon at the church. He wasn't always walking the straight and narrow, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So at one point, he was, at a bar, having a good time. He had got a little toe up, and on the menu was some chitlins. So he's sitting there eating chitlins, kind of getting something on his stomach, you know, not paying attention what's going on. And he said he kept, grabbing at his tongue, pulling out a little thing, and just, he wasn't paying no attention. He was just, flick it on the bar or whatever. He said finally his conscience hit him with him was like, what in the world am I flicking on the bar? And he looked down. He had a little few pieces of straw stacked up on the bottom.
Mm, straw of all things. I'm thinking you finna say a critter, like
But
some.
but you understand why it's straw, because that's what's in the food that the pig eats. So the person didn't even clean out the waste out the chicken.
Wow. Wow. They just put it in the pot.
Just put them in the pot.
It's horrible. It's
Ugh.
uh, insert green emoji would throw up now. When we're
Right.
talking about tradition and legacy, like what legacy are we truly leaving?
Leaving.
What traditions can we say are ours that are not rooted in trauma?
Hmm.
I was thinking about that. That's what made me want to talk about this because I wanted your opinion. Like, can you think of any?
Any tradition that is not rooted in trauma. I mean,
No, right?
I can't. I really can't. Because most of the things we deal with has been, like a self defense. And see, that's another reason why I feel like we needed to go and close our borders, because we everything we dealing with is as a response. We haven't made a
Any
motion
room for
yet.
we ain't made no room for ourselves.
None. We had no home. Like literally, like you have no home. Like we up here trying to be individuals. No, this system crush individuals. Individuals like serfs. They point. They like the wind. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? If you in a group, then you can go with a group politic and get your stuff moving.
yeah.
You see?
So, so then my question is this: then, because we have removed ourselves from from a we consciousness
Right.
to a state of I consciousness, then how do you propose we get back to the state of we? And at what point are we going to be accountable and not allow the traumas of tradition to get in the way of how we progressively move forward? Because you'll tell people now, tell you, oh, you can't build with nobody. You got to do it by yourself. You got to do it by yourself. You know, that's the mentality that's promoted. Do it by yourself, for yourself and by yourself.
What we have to do is establish. See, we'll never come together because we black, and I hope that we don't have to come together because we're under the flame. Because that will bring us together because we black. Because somebody persecuting us because we're black, then we will come together because we're black. But other than that, we need to have ideas, central
But isn't that already
ideas.
happening right now? We're being persecuted because we're black. And even with the coming together, there's still dissension amongst the ranks because we allow outsiders, we allow uncolors to advocate for us. You know, Black Lives Matter ain't all black no more. You know, and I think the biggest thing that I took from Malcolm X is that you got to do it for yourself, and that others can support you and teach their people what to do, but they can't be a part of this.
Right. So we got to come together on centralized topics, ideas, plans, whatever we want to build together. Just like I was listening to an economic forum, and they were talking about if 10 people got together with a credit score of a certain level, they could be form their own credit union and begin to lend to different businesses as they go through their economic struggle. And then this group can basically become,
The bank, the local bank.
the local bank.
The goal for this collective is to create our village.
Exactly. Exactly.
We got blueprints focused on nationality, law and finance, economics, holistic case management. But now the thing is this: when we think it going back to legacy and tradition, when you have a people that are so indoctrined into a state of trauma that they can't see that you helping them, it's like what the elders would say: cut off your nose to smite your face. How do you help that? How do you how do we realize what's truly um, tradition or legacy for us, or what is trauma that needs to be removed?
That's where I haven't learned very well how to take on energies that I am uncomfortable with, So my rationale with that is at some point we got to be logical. We are of limited resources. We trying to build up resources. So at this point, we can't take on those that we have to give heavy instruction to. It takes a
Right.
lot of energy to give heavy instruction
It
when we
does.
actually are in the building process. We need people that hitting the ground, running, doing
Real talk.
their job and their function. You
Well,
see,
good. I'm glad you just nominated yourself to be a part of this collective.
peace, peace.